entire Armenian American community throughout his career in public service. As you know, we never forget our good friends, so please join me in welcoming to the podium the Honorable Senator, our good friend, Chuck Schumer.
Thank you, everybody. It's great to be back. I never miss rain, sun, shine, whatever, snow, sleet, or even if too many Turks are here, I'm always here. So I say to all of you, Harev, it is such an honor for me to be here again for this commemoration of this tragedy, which, as we all know, does not receive enough attention, does not receive enough acknowledgement, even as we continue to experience repercussions of the genocide today in Armenia. Your presence here at this event, year after year, every year I worry that Times Square is not going to be full, but every year you do not disappoint me. Let's have a round of applause for the huge audience here today, representing Armenians from around the country. And your presence shows that year after year after year, you honor the memory of your ancestors, whose lives were brutally cut short by the Ottoman Empire a century ago. I'm always inspired to see you here as a living, resilient witness to the tragedy and moral outrage of the Armenian genocide. Last week, I was proud to welcome members of the Armenian Assembly in my office, Brian Arduni, Van Krikorian, and several of their colleagues, to be in my office at the Capitol. We had a productive and good discussion about how the Senate can continue to support Armenia and the great diaspora in America. Do we not have a great Armenian community here in New York and in New Jersey and in California and in the rest of America? This commemoration is special to me for many ways. One, I'm proud of my staff, an Armenian woman, Corinne Vorparian. You all know her. Who has been my Director of Immigration and Foreign Affairs and transformed the lives of countless people. She came to America as a teenager and now works to bring thousands, Armenians and others, who seek refuge here in America to come. It's also special for me because I have heard from so many survivors. There aren't as many left as there once were when I started coming here, but I've heard of so many survivors of the Metz Yeghern, and their descendants resonate with me on a personal level. As a boy, as you know, I grew up hearing stories about my great-grandmother. When the Nazis invaded Ukraine, they asked my great-grandmother, she was well known in her little town called Chortkiv in Ukraine, to gather all of her large family on the porch of her home. 35 people gathered, from 85 years old to 3 months. The Nazis said, "You're coming with us." She said, "We're not moving." And they machine gunned every one of them down. So I know what it's like to experience a genocide. And that's why I have been so passionate in every year I've been in the Senate, to make sure that we commemorate and understand genocide and the lessons learned from the Metz Yeghern. The atrocities are more than just a stain on the nation, and on those who did it. From Stalin's Ukraine to Hitler's Germany to Pol Pot's Cambodia, to the Balkans, Rwanda, Sudan, Myanmar, and beyond. The world looked away in each case. A blind eye, refused to reckon with the reality of what's happening. That's why for years I sponsored Senate resolutions that called on American presidents of both parties to finally name the Metz Yeghern for what it clearly was, a genocide. And, as you all know, with your work, my work, and the work of many others, President Biden, to his credit, finally recognized the Armenian genocide on behalf of the U.S. government. It happened because of you and your hard work and your moral clarity. It happened because we happen to have Chuck Schumer as the leader of the Democratic Party in the Senate. But my friends, our work is not yet done. It's our duty to speak out against human rights happening today, human rights abuses against the Armenian people. That's why I want to say as clearly as I can, what has happened in Nagorno-Karabakh is unacceptable to all Americans. I condemn unequivocally the actions of Azerbaijan that have led up to this point. Their war of aggression in 2020, their cruel and cynical blockade of the Lachin Corridor, and their subsequent assault on territory, resulting in the deaths, the tragic deaths of hundreds of Armenians. The campaign of Azeri aggression forced the exodus of 99% of the ethnic Armenian population of Nagorno-Karabakh in a matter of days. I know I'm not alone in saying my mind was cast back to the darker days that happened before. So I promise you, as Senate Majority Leader, I will do all I can to support Armenia, the ethnic Armenians from Nagorno-Karabakh, by securing funding for relief, development, and peace efforts. I also support the efforts of Secretary Blinken and administrative powers to call out these human rights abuses. I am watching these developments like a hawk and will continue to do everything I can to support Armenia. We must never turn a blind eye again. Let me conclude with a closing thought, a hopeful thought, as I do every year. Armenia faces serious challenges, from Azeri aggression to Russia waging war on Armenia's doorstep. But if history is any guide, we know that this small but mighty nation has outlasted authoritarian thugs in the past and will continue to do so. Today, there are 1.5 million Armenian Americans living in this country, from Bayside to Los Angeles. Many descendants are now serving. Many descendants of the genocide are serving in our city as first responders. One is working in the office of the Senate Majority Leader, impacting the lives of tens of thousands. So let me say this: what better proof than the Armenian nation has not only endured but prevailed? The three pashas are gone. The Ottoman Empire is gone, and the Armenian people live on. Long may they live. Long live Armenia. Getzi Hayastan. God bless you all.
Thank you, Senator, for your tireless efforts of joining us each year without fail. Please, another round of applause. Today's theme of truth, recognition, and justice reminds